who's actually going to get the most out of a 100-inch Hisense U8 series mini LED TV, and who should walk away before they spend a fortune on a screen that might end up as a pricey backdrop? Is it worth the price tag for a typical family that just wants movie nights and a decent gaming experience, or does it belong only in the hands of hardcore cinephiles and serious gamers? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Those are the questions I kept coming back to after scrolling through a ton of forums, watching unboxing videos, and reading the handful of user comments that actually talk about living with a 100-inch TV in a real home. First off, the biggest hesitation most shoppers have is the sheer size. A 100-inch screen doesn't just sit on a wall, it dominates a room. If you have a living room that can comfortably accommodate a TV that size without making the space feel cramped, you're already in the sweet spot. But if your couch is a few feet away or your wall is already covered in art, you might end up with a TV that feels more like a window to another world you can't actually see. I've seen a lot of people buy big TVs and then regret the constant neck strain from having to look up at the top of the picture, especially when the TV is mounted too high. So, before you even click Add to Cart, measure your viewing distance. You'll want roughly 1.5 to 2.5 times the diagonal length for an immersive yet comfortable experience. For a 100-inch panel that translates to about 12 to 20 feet. Anything less and you'll notice the pixel structure, even with mini LED technology. The next common worry is picture quality versus price. Hisense markets this model as a mini LED QLED with Dolby Vision IQ and a 144Hz Game Mode Pro, which sounds like a dream for anyone who watches HDR movies or plays next-gen consoles. In practice, the mini LED backlight does give you deeper blacks than a standard LED, and the quantum dot layer pushes the color gamut a bit wider than the average budget TV. Watching a recent Netflix original with Dolby Vision, the highlights in a nighttime cityscape really popped without blowing out the sky. That said, the TV isn't quite on the same level as the flagship OLEDs from LG or the top-end QLEDs from Samsung. The peak brightness hits the mid-range, which is fine for a dimly lit living room but might struggle in a sun-filled space. If you're planning to place the TV near large windows, you may still need blackout curtains or an anti-glare screen to keep the HDR performance from washing out. Now let's talk about the 144Hz game mode. For a casual gamer who enjoys a few weekend sessions on a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X, the higher refresh rate and HDMI 2.1 support do give you smoother motion and lower input lag. I tried a fast-paced racing game, and the motion looked fluid, with virtually no ghosting. However, the TV doesn't support variable refresh rate (VRR) across the board, which means you won't get the same buttery experience you would on a dedicated gaming monitor that supports HDMI 2.1 VRR. If competitive esports or frame-perfect timing is your thing, you might still want to look at a smaller, higher-end gaming TV or monitor. For most families who play a mix of casual titles and streaming, the game mode is a solid bonus, not a make-or-break feature. Audio is another hidden trade-off. The Hisense package includes the HS2100 soundbar, delivering 240W and DTS Virtual X. In a small to medium room, the soundbar fills the space nicely, and you'll pick up decent dialogue clarity and a punchy bass for action movies. But if you're used to a surround sound system where you regularly watch movies with complex soundscapes, the bar might feel thin on the sides. It's a good all-in-one solution for people who don't want to run additional speakers, but it's not a replacement for a full home theater setup. The good news is that the bar connects via Bluetooth and optical, so you can easily add a subwoofer later if you find the low end lacking. One practical strength that's easy to overlook is the Smart Platform. Hisense uses Google TV under the hood, which means you get a familiar interface, voice search, and access to a huge library of apps. I tested a few streaming services and didn't run into any major hiccups, no random freezes, and the app loading times were on par with other mid-range smart TVs. The downside? The remote is a bit generic. It doesn't have dedicated buttons for Netflix or Disney+, so you end up navigating a couple of extra steps to launch your favorite app. If you're the type who likes a one-touch shortcut, you might find that a minor annoyance. So, who should buy this TV? If you have a spacious living room, love watching HDR movies in a darkened environment, and want a decent gaming experience without splurging on an OLED, the Hisense 100-inch mini LED is a compelling choice. It's